Using Kuretake colours today, and I've got a round brush size 10, and I'm going to be using complementary greens with a beige. So just layering on the paint very loosely, letting the colours mix as they touch each other, having some gaps in between the paint because I'll embellish with some pencil in those, and then just adding some texture to the page. This is a sort of bluey green, lovely lush colour. I think these colours go really well together, really complement each other. So just pulling up the page, letting the paint drip down so it creates some shapes onto the page, moving the page around so that that paint moves with it, and when you're happy, just putting the page back down, layering over the top of the page. Those colours, it's a wet on wet technique, so the colours will merge into each other. Again, adding some darker blue at the top and some beige mixing in to that darker green there. It's just a matter of layering up until you're happy with the page. When you're happy with this layer, then what you need to do is just put your paintbrush down and wait, let it dry. And once it's dried, I'm adding some gold metallic paint. Just want to make some shapes just to embellish the painting, make it look a lot more luxe. Turning the brush onto its side and just flattening it onto the page, turning it as you go because you have paint on all sides of that paintbrush. With some colouring in pencils, just doing some lines from one paint block to another. It offers some shading. I've used a complementary colour, same shades as the paint. So again, just looking at the spaces on the page, the negative space, and just drawing some lines both horizontally and vertically, just to give it a little bit of interest there. You could put any shapes you want in that negative space. It could be circles, could be zigzags, whatever you feel is appropriate. It just offers a little bit of shading as well when you stand back from this page. It doesn't look so white, the background. Shading on some of the paint blocks, just to give it a bit of interest again. You can use your pencils in any way you feel is appropriate. You really can't go wrong with this type of painting. You just need to go with the flow and just see where it leads you. I've got a green pencil here, and I'm just going around the little gold circles. It will just enhance them and make them pop out, gives them a bit of a 3D look once you've put some shading around them. You could use a completely different colour and that will give a whole different effect to the page. Shading again, just outlining some of the lines that have already been made by the paint, and again finding another block to complete and put that shading detail in. So it's always good to stand back from your picture and have a look and see where you need a little bit more detail, just to make it that little bit more interesting. And here just adding some little circles, colouring them in, and then putting some dots surrounding them. So I've decided that this beige block is a bit too bland, so I'm just putting some lines through there, intertwining, and then what I'm doing is just adding some little dots. They look like little chains just draped across the picture. It's a bit like a little game, trying to find little areas that you just want to enhance. So here, just bubbles that are attached to each other, draping them again across the page, so not in a straight line, just imagine them loosely draped. It gives the picture a little bit more of a natural look to it when they're draped. So now I'm just adding some little dots and shading again, going around those circles, just so that they stick out a little bit more when you're looking at them, and adding some shading around the gold embellishments just so that gold pops out when you look at it. Some lovely little dots across the page here, and it's really simple to do. Like I said before, you just look at your page and think what is needed where, and it's so relaxing to do. I just love doing these doodly kind of paintings. They really get you in the zone, and you sort of, like, all your troubles just drift away because you're concentrating and looking at your page and seeing what would look good. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and if you do, if you could consider liking and subscribing, that would be great. And if you would like to make a comment, some feedback, that would be wonderful. I really look forward to hearing from you. So here now I've got the lines that I've painted, and I'm just making sort of like brick effects by just putting some other lines with the green pencil on. Really gives sort of like a brick effect on that gold paint. I've decided that I want some more bubbles, so I'm going to connect them in the middle. So just bringing those down, that line of bubbles to connect, and just adding the dots in, and again just letting them drape across the page as though they're attached to the edges of the page and they've just fallen down as they would drape. Again, with the green pencil, I'm doing some more shading here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 3 lines of shading. So I'm shading to the furthest point that I want to shade, do a line across the page. When I'm happy with that, I'll come back and bring that line further down and go across and bring that all the way across. And you will find as the shading continues, there's a smaller line going on here, the smallest of the lines. It will look as though that paint has sort of faded into the page. Outlining the page now with a pencil, as I like to do. It gives a nice clean border, and then when you're happy with that, then just pull away the tape, and then you'll be able to reveal your beautiful watercolor doodle picture with that lovely gold embellishment. You can see the detail here, and I hope you've really enjoyed this. I'd love to hear how you get on, and hope to hear from you again soon.